podcast, bumping through your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie podcast, bumping through your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie podcast here on Fireside, Facebook, YouTube, and the Facebook, Really Charlie Facebook page. Thank you for joining me here on Fireside and Facebook. I am trying to, every day of this month, send out some Black History facts. But those facts are coming from my own hometown of New Bedford, Massachusetts. And so anything related to New Bedford, I'm trying to bring out this month, person, place, or thing, and kind of pass on that history for you. Today's subject is Thomas Lopes. Friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, who is an iconic figure in our city, that had passed away a few years ago, and but he's very he's a very good man. Was a very good man, good mentor for me, and so we're gonna talk about him today. And like I said, I'm trying to follow you guys on Fireside, Facebook. We're going on different pages and different sites. And good morning to you. I appreciate you for tuning in, but it's all about this history. Black history is every day. Every day. Don't let anybody kind of put you in a black box or put it in a black box and kind of just say February is the month. You can share this history every single day. So, all right. Welcome, Julia, on Fireside. I see you. Thank you for joining me. And, Facebook use on Facebook. I see you. Thank you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a few things here. And, all right. I'm ready. Tom Lopes. Tom Lopes dedicated his life of public service and making a difference. In 1975, he became the first Cape Verdean American elected Massachusetts House of Representatives and served 2 terms. He built relationships between the government of Cape Verde and the United States of America. He was instrumental in getting the Ernestina packet ship back to New Bedford. Through the CVN, which is the Cape Verdean newspaper, he sought to effect change through power of the press and connected Cape Verde around the world. Tom spoke out against violence and injustices in the city, and he put the needs of others above his own. He loved his work and felt the call to help his fellow man, which is, that's perfect. So let's see. I'm going to continue to go on with the show here. All right. Julia, I see your comments. I love it. Thank you for that comment. And Julia just mentioned about, I know 2 details about Black history and that no one talks about. Absolutely wonderful information. But Julia, I'll get to you in a few. I just want to lay out these facts on Thomas. Mr. Lopes, passed away and we had to do something as a community, to make sure that this guy was always remembered for on a daily basis. And so what they did is neighborhood works of southern Massachusetts, along with Whale and the city of New Bedford. Also, they started a fund, and they end up putting a statue in the community that where he grew up and where he had his business. And the statue is wonderful. It's a wonderful statue that we get to see every single day. Um, and I mentioned about the Ernestina. The Ernestina, what it is the Ernestina is a packet ship that used to bring um, Cape Verdeans from Western Africa across the Atlantic to New Bedford, Massachusetts, looking for a better life. And Tommy was a great advocate for it. He was always trying to look to to highlight such a ship that's a huge part of our history. Because taking that voyage and making that voyage across the Atlantic was was important, especially to guys like me, and I'm here due to ships like that, ships like you know uh, the Ernestina. My great grandparents came over, and great grandparents came over and started a life. So Tommy was always trying to highlight that, along with many other things, many other things. His family is outstanding people. His children, they're trying to hold on to his legacy and maintain it. Everyone's trying to do what they can for him, and keep that history rolling. There's a few other things. Let me see if I can grab a few things. He was a graduate of New Bedford High School in the class of 1961. Went to the University of Bridgeport, class of 1968. Did graduate work at the Sloan School at MIT. And between the years of 1968 to 1974, Tom worked with various social agencies such as Neighborhood Youth Corps of Bridgeport and Youth Resources Agency, along with Onboard Incorporated out of New Bedford. Additionally, he held positions assistant manager with the New England Telephone Company from 71 to 74. In 1974, Tom was elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives, where he served 2 terms. Since 1979, he was the publisher and general manager of the CVN News, which is the Cape Verdean News, and Business Center, and also Cooleywood, um, which was a multimedia company since 2011. He was a volunteer on the board of the Plymouth Bay Girl Scout Council, Moby Dick Scout Council, Children and Family Services, Junior Achievement, Kiwanis Club, Boys and Girls Club of New Bedford, the YMCA of New Bedford. These are the things, and the one thing that I like about what Tommy did is Mr. Lopes did, is that he would go to every function, every particular function um, in the area, and try to snap pictures and pass that on, you know, uh, to the neighborhoods, the communities. He connected people all over the world, especially of Cape Verdean descent. Um, Hello, Maggie, Julia. I see you on the fireside. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Um, so the Tommy was just all over the place, and the one thing that I liked is that his newspaper was right in the neighborhood. It was right in the community where you can just walk there and just grab a newspaper, just share um share the information that he was publishing, and it was great. Let me I'm gonna go ahead and read an article that was just unbelievable article when I first read it way back in 2012. And it was written by a dear friend of mine, Ross Grace Jr., editorial um, subscription or submission to the local newspaper. And I'm just going to read some things here. And it was a great, great article, and it pinpoints Thomas Lopes to a T. All right. Tom Lopes knew what mattered. Ross Grace Jr. There is a void left in our community with the passing of New Bedford's son, Tommy Lopes. Our most dear brother pioneered the field of journalism not only for the Cape Verdean and minority communities, but for the area and region at large. Cape Verdean news reached coast to coast, exposed a frequently unknown Cape Verdean people to communities throughout our nation. Simply, or simple people doing good things were the heart and soul of the Cape Verdean news. Ordinary people doing ordinary things got a chance to shine. After all of the well deserved recognition from dignitaries and leaders, New Bedford should take a moment to reflect on Tommy. Reflection is important, not just during those days of mourning and ceremony, but more so in this very moment. In my mind, we should reflect not only upon what he contributed through video, pictures, words, but also his vision and his values that he shared for his city, community, and culture. So true. The Cape Verdean News was more than a journal. In this local grassroots initiative, Tommy made a point to frequent schools and other places that achieve but aren't recognized. While large news media are trying to grab and create big headlines, the CVN was in churches, parades, showers, weddings, sharing the good news that we all take for granted. It kept us aware of young people winning awards. It showcased developing and future leaders and students of their talent. It gave exposure to people in a small city in the corner of Massachusetts. CVN gave a small people a bigger voice. So true. It sure did. Outside of the great important things Tommy did, New Bedford will miss a good and decent man. He was a man committed to something. He didn't just let the world pass him by. I find himself hoping that New Bedford continues to be the home. Or it says, I find myself hoping that New Bedford continues to be the home to people like Tommy, people who love the city and its people and are willing to do something to make it great. In these times, I think it's most critical that those of us who have loved out for our home find a voice like Tommy Lopes or Tom Lopes did. Whether through writing or speaking at your job or at your dinner table, share a little bit of what Tommy did. The good news does matter. The small things do matter. Having a love for your community does, in fact, matter. And what Mr. Thomas Lopes and the Cape Verdean News did so much mattered. And it's so true. He did so many little things. I mean, you would think that you could be in your backyard or like Mr. Gray said, you know, he would go to a wedding, go to a shower, snap a picture, Mrs. Mr. and Mrs. So and so, or the new birth of a child, and or a person scores a winning basket or not a winning basket, or just highlighting different things in basketball and sports, music, bringing that Cape Verdean music out to light. He just did so many things, And there was mention about coast to coast. This is no exaggeration. This small community paper reached every part of this country just because it was something that related or something that was related to the Cape Verdean people. And Cape Verde is a little country off the west coast of Africa. And I should have said that in the beginning. And so, the islands were made up of some beautiful, beautiful people, including me. And we, I'm American born, but my family, my heritage starts at Cape Verde. So um, Tommy just highlighted so many things, and we got to appreciate that no matter who we are, when you have somebody in your community, regardless of whatever community it is, when you see someone trying to highlight your heritage, your culture, um, appreciate that. Appreciate it because not everyone does their job or anyone does things like that. And Tommy was doing it for decades. And to be elected as the first Cape Verdean um, House of Representative, it was so cool watching him, as I grew up watching him. He was always well dressed, always want to shake someone's hand, had a camera strapped around his shoulder, looking for that next story. And you would think that if he walked down the street, he would get this applause. Yeah, we all loved him. But you know what? One thing that Tommy would do is, and I want to say Mr. Lopes because I really respect the man. One thing Mr. Lopes did is that before you applauded him, he was going to applaud you. He was going to praise you. And when he applauded you, he was already standing up to say, hey, good job. Keep up the good work. How's the family? So on and so forth. But a great, great gentleman. Uh, so we had lost him in 2012, and that's sad. That we had the man was amazing. All right. So I'm trying to just bring this out, and every day I'm going to do things like this and basically find some Black history within the city of New Bedford, and I'm going to bring it up. So I will be back on tomorrow at 9 a.m. and doing the same thing. Thank you for joining me on this podcast, Black History from New Bedford, Massachusetts, my hometown. Thank you for joining me on Fireside, also on Facebook, YouTube, the replay on Fireside. I appreciate you listening. Please follow me on Fireside and also on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And if you have uh, some ambitions and you want to come on a Really Charlie podcast, just send me an email at reallycharliepodcast@gmail.com. And I would gladly put you on the podcast. We can talk about whatever you wish. And that's what I'm trying to do. Give you flowers while you are standing. And we no longer have Tommy, Mr. Lopes, but he is still standing. They have a nice, beautiful statue in the city of New Bedford with him at County and Grinnell Street in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And fabulous, fabulous statue. All right, everyone. I want to applaud Tommy Lopes, his family and friends that continue to bring up his legacy, and I appreciate you. And now it's your job to continue on passing out this great history on a great man. Thomas Lopes, may you rest in peace. All right, everyone. Thank you. And I'm going to end this podcast with my favorite song from Lionel Peter Walker. And, feel free to come back and see me, talk to me, and we'll do our thing. All right, everyone. Have a great, great day. And happy birthday to my grandson, Darius. I love you. 13 years old. The years are kind of speeding by. Happy birthday.